Hey everyone, welcome back to Reddit Stories with Sam. I'm really glad you're here today, and we've got some wild confessions to dive into. Let's start with this first story, titled I'm Successful Now, but Grew Up Homeless and It Haunts Me. I was raised by a single mother addicted to pills. We were frequently homeless, and as a young child from 5 to 8 years old, we would often couch surf with friends and family a week at a time, camping in between and during the summers. This created a rift with my mother and our family, as they are all conservative Catholics and did not approve of my mother's transient lifestyle. My mother enjoyed men, drinking, and drugs, and would often get drunk and do drugs in front of me. She was also never shy about her sexuality, and while I never saw her have sex with a man in front of me, I saw things I would not do in front of my own child. I was also homeschooled, which is a term I will use loosely. My mother's version of homeschooling was often buying textbooks at yard sales and instructing me to read them, making me watch MSN News and a lot of PBS, History Channel, etc. She very rarely sat down with me and directly taught me anything. I also was never assessed or tested on my knowledge of anything. As I got older, from 9 to 12, my mother would use online dating sites to find men to stay with. This created a new cycle of moving monthly into the houses of different men that we had never even met in person. To this day, I am still horrified by the amount of men that were more than willing to take us in without even knowing us. It has occurred to me more than once that my mother was using her body and sexuality to keep a roof over our heads, something she used to inform me of and blame on me. When my family found out my mother was doing this, they cut us off, forcing my mother to repeat this cycle, as none of our family would allow us to stay with them anymore. When I was 12, my mother found religion and the pendulum swung the other way. Suddenly, my drug-addicted and free-spirited mother was incredibly conservative, forcing me to keep my hair up, wear a promise ring, and only wear skirts, along with spending my free time volunteering for the church and going to 3 services a week. Prior to this, my only exposure to religion was occasionally tagging along with family members to holiday services and Bible studies. When she initially became religious, we had finally managed to get into subsidized housing and managed to stay in one apartment for an entire year, my longest time living somewhere. We changed apartments several times between the ages of 13 and 15, but we moved much less as my mother's cancer would not allow the constant moving we were doing before. She got on Social Security and disability, and we continued moving once or twice a year into various low-income housing until I was 18, which was much more stable than what I was used to. At 18, my mother died of cancer. Her cancer had advanced, metastasizing everywhere. She hardly noticed until she was on her deathbed because of the amount of pills she took. She was already self-medicating and numbing herself to the point that she didn't realize her cancer was as advanced as it was. She also was more than non-compliant with her healthcare team, often missing appointments. When she passed, I remember going through her things, throwing away various drug paraphernalia. I had an entire tote of morphine pills, fentanyl patches, Ativan, Xanax, old Vicodin, newer Norcos, and even prescription pads that I found hiding under her bed that I took to the sheriff's office. I've never met anyone else quite with a childhood like mine, and now at 30, this has been weighing on me. Because we were so transient, I grew to become incredibly introverted and have never really shared my childhood story with anyone. I do regret not sharing more with people, as I think moving all over all the time also taught me a lot about people and life. There are obviously more details to my childhood than this, but this is the quick version. I now have my college degree, work full-time, and am a homeowner and single mom. Wow, that is an incredibly heavy story. It's amazing to hear how much resilience someone can have even through such a chaotic and painful upbringing. One commenter had this to say, "I'm so glad that you're able to be successful in life today. Sounds like you were put in a lot of dangerous positions at an early age. Congratulations for the person you are today." And another person added, "This gave me chills. You didn't just survive, you carried yourself through chaos no child should ever face, and now you've built the stability your mother couldn't give you. That's strength most people can't even imagine. You're proof that trauma doesn't have the final word." All right, let's move on to our next story. This one is titled, "My only purpose of last few months has been serving men." So I'm a 21-year-old male who dresses up in women's clothing and posts it online to get attention. It all started in COVID time. I just posted my body pic on one gay subreddit, and my build is really slim, athletic twink in gay culture, so I got a lot of Redditors messaging me asking to dress up as a girl in lingerie or fishnets for them. They were even ready to get me dresses of their choice if I wore it for them and helped them jerk off. I gave in to temptations and did it, started liking the attention, and gradually went into the sissy bimbofication hole. I have even done in real life meets with men all dressed up and of course, did things. Reality has been hitting me for a week when my friends have started interning, growing in every aspect of life, and here I am just talking to these desperate straight men on every app possible and cater to their needs. I don't think I'm trans or a sissy or a femboy. I have an athletic career plus a great mind, but social media has rewired the way I think. I've been sexually assaulted multiple times as a child by my uncle's friend, my grandpa's brother, my school friend, to the extent that I didn't even mind it, or you can say I liked it. Constant validation from strangers is what I've been craving, and oh, the toxicity and the
sissy culture where everyone's desirability is what kind of men they're scoring.
I want to go back, take a break, see who I truly am, gay, bisexual, whatever, but not to be this attention-seeking person or sex addict. Thank you. That's a really vulnerable confession. It sounds like there's a lot of self-reflection happening here, and it takes courage to share something so personal. One commenter pointed out, 21 years old minus 4 years minimum since COVID. You were 17 posting CP? That's enough Reddit for today. And another offered this perspective. Lots of people get caught up in the dopamine of validation. I think taking a step back and learning to appreciate yourself for all your attributes is a good idea. Now here's another confession that might surprise you. This one is called, I tried shooting my shot and might have ended up doing one of the worst things I've ever done. Just to be clear, I have this really bad social issue where sometimes I say things without thinking and it comes out very poorly. But anyways, there was this really cool girl I was interested in. We weren't close friends, but we would talk and send Snapchats of each other here and there. There were a few instances where I thought she was giving me hints that she was interested in me, and this one time she sent this text that I saw as sexually flirtatious. Big mistake. So I started showing the same energy. During the conversation, I got the idea that she was playing hard to get, so I calmed it down and we moved on. Later that night, we called each other and my goal was to ask her if she liked me, though I made the horribly stupid mistake of being too open and saying stuff straight up without thinking of what comes out of my mouth. Specifically, I told her that I found her attractive and wanted to have sex with her, but that didn't feel right because I barely knew her, so I asked if she was interested in hanging out sometime. To no surprise, she was completely shocked by the random confession and said she was actually interested in someone else at the moment. I calmly accepted it, thinking that we could just be friends or at least still cool with each other for some reason. The funny thing is, I wasn't drunk or high at all during the situation, but nothing in my stupid mind was processing how bad and weird what I just said was. After the call, she explained that what I said was very strange and I agreed. We talked about it and I apologized for saying those things straight up and making her uncomfortable. She forgave me and we kinda moved on. A day later, I became sick thinking about what I said and how she might have viewed me now. I wanted to apologize more and explain myself, but I felt like that would just be making the situation worse. I asked her if she felt comfortable talking to me and she said she wanted space, which I totally understood. I just hope I never get into these types of situations or make anyone uncomfortable again. Oof, it's a tough lesson to learn. We've all had moments where we wish we could take back something we said, but that one sounds particularly awkward. One commenter advised, in the future, don't jump straight into telling a girl you want to have sex. Not only does it feel threatening as a woman to hear that from someone you felt safe with on a friendly level, but it also comes across as the only thing you're interested in from her. And another simply said, you messed up, it happens. Take the lesson and move on. Let's check out the next story. This one is titled, Woke Up Today and Realized How Lame I Actually Am. 25-year-old male here, don't have anyone I can truly vent to about 100% everything, so I'll leave it here. To start, like I said, I'm 25 going on 26 in a month. I've never had sex with any girl I dated. I've never been to prom. Right now I'm squatting in an apartment with big cockroaches some the size of my palm that I'm not even supposed to be in due to eviction. I get zero female attention. I'm 400 pounds. Due to no female attention and only friend zone situations, I feel like it's forcing me towards guys, especially having a chronic gay porn problem. I haven't had sex with a female in 3 or 4 years, and she said it was bad. My first sexual interaction was with a guy who was a family friend, and we were 12 at the time, and it's eating me up inside thinking about it. At 10 or 11, I was a pervert. Not going into details, but the girls were half my age, definitely far from that type of nonsense today. I snore extremely loud, and it's embarrassing as anything. I'm broke, no car anymore. Messing people over or scamming just to survive, I hate doing it. Every time I try to do the right thing, it just never goes right. I do music. Barely anyone supports it. I quote-unquote dated someone off and on for 3 years. Zero sex happened, and I lied to the people around me like I did have sex with her just to avoid looking like a loser to them. My confidence level lives in the Mariana Trench. By now, you probably can tell I care a lot about what people think about me, but I can't help it. Due to me being so alone away from people, I only shower and brush my teeth 2 or 3 times a week. I think about just killing myself all the time because, why not? No point of living just wasting space, but I'm just scared. The only thing I feel like I have that may be worth something is a good heart to help and be there for other people and just do the right thing. Needed to get my feelings off my chest for whoever may be listening. That is a really raw and honest confession. It sounds like this person is carrying a lot of pain and self-doubt, and my heart goes out to them. One commenter offered this encouragement. The only way you're going to feel any better in life is by working on changing these things. Start one step at a time. You can either sit there and think about everything that's wrong or start making the right moves. Good luck. And another added, 400 pounds, that should be priority number 1 to fix. If you commit to losing weight and getting fit, I feel like the rest will fall into place for you. Seek therapy for help. There is no shame in that. Many people do it, successful people. Now here's another confession that might surprise you. This one is called, I have unhealthy fantasies from first memories at age 3. This goes back to my earliest memories around the age of 3 to 5. I only remembered it much later when I was about 10 years old, when I realized how unusual and even unhealthy this kind of thing was. So I always kept this secret, but since my story will be anonymized, it's an opportunity to get opinions on my story. I grew up with both my parents in a small apartment, apparently in an atmosphere filled with affection and love. In my living room, there was a black leather sofa that completely occupied the wall. I felt safe there, curled up in a ball in a corner, and I developed a particular habit for a baby. Every day, I imagined multiple stories while whispering into the cold leather. Not the kind of cute scenarios based on cartoons or little children's books, more the adult kind, filled with BDSM, domination, orgies of all kinds, with a recurring environment including swimming pools and tanks. I'll spare you the details. It was always this kind of thing, and I think I was somehow aware that it wasn't normal because as soon as one of my parents sat down on the couch, I would stop. I was never assaulted in any way, and I don't think I've ever witnessed an intimate scene between my parents. They are extremely modest. This strange fascination with sex, especially violent sex, has followed me for over 10 years. I think my therapist would have a lot to analyze. I decided to talk about it here to ease my conscience. Since I realized something was wrong, I wanted outside opinions, a bit difficult given the situation. That is a deeply unusual and concerning confession. It raises a lot of questions about where these ideas could have come from at such a young age. One commenter wondered, how did you even know what these things were at that age? I think that's something you should probably talk to somebody about. And another offered this insight. I don't want to scare you, but something had to have happened. Sexual curiosity is normal at that age. Knowing as much as you knew and having violent sexual fantasies at that age is not normal. Any fleshed out sexual fantasy at that age would be unusual because if you think about it, kids only know what they've been shown or taught. So where did you get that much detail from? I'm not saying you were assaulted, but even seeing a glimpse of a sex scene in a movie can do this, and even though your parents are modest, there is a chance you saw something when you were too young to consciously remember. There is also the darker possibility that you were molested at some point. Any kid that goes to daycare or school or spends time around older relatives or family friends has the chance to be assaulted no matter how good their parents are. Before you try to remember it with something like EMDR therapy, you need to decide if knowing what happened, even if it's traumatic, is worth it to you. But I can promise you that you did at least see something. There's no other explanation for it. Alright, let's wrap up with our final story for today. This one is titled, I Regret Marrying Someone from a Different Culture and Ethnicity. I'll never admit this out loud to anyone in my real life, but I do regret marrying someone from a different culture and ethnicity. I feel ashamed even writing that, but it's the truth. The hardest part is his own self-hatred. Over time, I've realized he didn't really choose me because of who I am, but because I'm white. He has said many times that he'd never marry someone of his own ethnicity. I was only 21 when we met, and I didn't fully understand what that meant. Having kids changed everything. There's no romance anymore. Sex maybe once every 2 months, and I can feel that he's forcing himself. His energy and attention all go to our kids. No gifts, no surprises. He even forgot my birthday this year. Maybe that isn't cultural, but I do feel like in his country, being the devoted father is almost glorified, like that's the whole identity of a man after having kids. And then there are his parents. If I started writing about how condescending, toxic, and controlling they became after the baby, it would take hours. They are obsessed with our children. Some of it is cultural, some of it is just them being awful people. They pressure him constantly. I overheard his mom saying at least 20 times how his eyes are too small. Thank God now her grandkids have beautiful eyes just like her. It made me sick. I don't regret him as the father of my kids. He is wonderful with them, even if he's anxious about the smallest things. He does his best and I still love him. But the cultural differences, his obsession with race, and his self-hatred weigh so heavily on me. I love our children more than anything, but sometimes I feel sad for them because of the way he talks. One time, I don't even know how the topic came up, I said something like, people might see our kids as Asian, and he replied, yes, and you know that for most people here looking Asian is a bad thing. It's not something to be proud of. That crushed me. It stuck in my head for days and I couldn't stop thinking about it when I looked at my kids. I've never seen them like that, never thought of them that way. The thought alone tortured me. On the outside, we look like a beautiful family. Bilingual, 2 cultures, good jobs, a stable life. But inside, I'm not happy anymore. His issues are dragging me down. I've lost confidence. I've stopped trying to comfort him. It's a lost cause. It's never good enough. It's never perfect enough. He will never be satisfied. Only our kids bring me joy and keep me going, and I'll do my best to make them happy. That's a heartbreaking situation. It sounds incredibly isolating to feel that way in your own marriage, especially when there are children involved. One commenter suggested, time for family and individual therapy. And another offered this perspective. The problem isn't his ethnicity, but his mindset. Tell him about it. Be clear that hating his ethnicity was already weird enough, but now it also means hating your son's ethnicity, which is understandably beyond the line for you. Thanks so much for joining me today on Reddit Stories with Sam. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.
Until next time,
Take care.